So as y'all can see, I'm back home in Missouri. And I've been telling y'all that y'all are about to get spammed with videos, and it hasn't exactly happened yet. Well, let me tell you, it's about to freaking start happening. And the first thing that I want to talk about in this spamming of videos that you guys are about to get over the next few months as I grind this thing out on YouTube, because I know that this is something God has called me for, called me towards, called me for. This is my purpose. I know that. So now that I'm confident in that, I'm going to keep on moving confidently and working on it. But anyways, back to the point. The point is the NBA ratings are down again. And I want to start this video off by saying that I'm not super worried about the NBA ratings. It's not like the NBA ratings have fallen like below MLB, below NHL. It's not like they've been declining for like 10, 15, 20 straight years. It's not like that. Now, if it gets to that point, where we're getting into 2030 and the league is declining and Bron and Steph are going, and Bron, Steph and KD are gone, and then the whole league, not only is it declining, but it like drops significantly just because that next year when Steph, LeBron, and KD are gone. If it gets to that point, that's when we kind of need to start having some conversations. And the first thing that came to my mind when I was seeing all the tweets about how the ratings were down and when the news came out that the ratings were down a significant amount and everything like that, the first thing that came to my mind was, is this Commissioner Adam Silver's fault? And I want to say that Adam Silver is low-key kind of doing as much as he can to make the sport as enjoyable for the casual fan as possible, besides one thing, and that one thing is the way that NBA games are broadcasted, but we're going to get into that in a second. Another reason that I'm not super worried about the ratings is because the NBA literally over the summer just signed the biggest media deal in league history for next year that's going to go into effect next year. Not the next media deal, but the biggest TV deal in league history, so that's about to go into effect next year and everything like that, so I'm not super worried about it going into that season either. I do need a haircut. My lineup's not actually this bad, but I do need a haircut anyways. So I'm not going to blame Commissioner Silver, but one thing I will say that Commissioner Silver and the NBA, there's two things that I think Commissioner Silver and just like the league office, like the league schedule makers, the league officials, not the referees, but like the higher ups in the league. There's two things that I think they did a really, really bad job of. You see how my lineup's not actually it's not that bad. You see what I'm saying? It's just because my hair curls up. Like when you actually look at it straight on, it just looks like my hair needs to be brushed. That's all it looks like. But my hair curls up because I have curly hair. Anyways, what was I saying? Really good question. Oh yeah, the two things that I think the league messed up on. One is the scheduling of these games, because something that I noticed, I think it was either last Sunday or 2 Sundays ago, and now I'm going to go move Chloe. No, it was last Sunday. So the NBA is a smart league. It is. This is the second biggest sports league in America. It's a smart league. We all know that they wouldn't have gotten this big if they weren't a smart league, right? And there are a few talking points that I'm going to get to in this video, but I don't think any single one of them makes as little sense to me as this one does, and it's why the NBA would schedule a slate of 3, 6, 9, 12 games on a Sunday when NFL football is going on. Keep in mind, the NFL season's almost ending. The regular season's going down to the wire. These are big games. These are playoff potential games. Like these are games with playoff implications potentially for a lot of teams. And the NBA is scheduling a 12-game slate on that day, but then on the Monday, the very next day, there was one game, and it was Knicks versus Raptors. By the way, the Raptors, I couldn't be happier with this season as a Raptors fan. I know people are talking about, oh, the Raptors aren't doing great and everything like that. And I saw Kenny Beecham do like his tier list with like teams and how they've done so far this season, and he put the Raptors I think in like D or something. And me personally, that's one thing with him. Like I'm a huge Kenny Beecham fan, don't get me wrong, but like this I just disagreed with him on, because as a Raptors fan, the ethical tanking has been not only fun to watch, but exactly what you want, because you want your team to be ass, but you don't want them to be so ass that they're losing by 50. They're all time bad to the point where it's like, damn, because then if you're like that, it's like, damn, you didn't even try it all. And then what if you don't get the first pick, right? Like I love to watch my team fight and battle in every single game and then lose by a couple points by a possession or two. I love to see that. But anyways, so we have a 12-game slate on an NFL Sunday, but then the next Monday, the very next day, we have a 1-game slate, and it's not even a good game. It's not a game like that's like a primetime game. Like no one's waking up, looking at the NBA schedule for that day and saying, "Oh yeah, that's a game that's worth watching." No, they're not. You have to be a fan of one of those teams, or you really just have to be a fan of a player in that matchup. And then today it's not as bad. We have a 7-game slate today in the NBA. It's not as bad, right? But then when you think about the fact that yesterday was a Saturday in which the college football playoff games for the big teams, like the actual top 12, like the first round, those 4 games haven't happened yet. They happen next Saturday. So that was a Saturday that the NBA could have taken full advantage of having that could have been one of those days where the whole league plays, where it's 15 fucking games. That could have been one of those. But instead what the NBA did was they put on 2 games, and don't get me wrong, these were 2 NBA Cup semifinal games, but I would have rather these 2 games have been today, where it's just 2 games and then you still give people the chance to watch their NFL teams that they want to watch, because it's just 2 games and you can watch these games at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Like it's simple. And these are NBA Cup games that were, supposed to be good matchups. They're supposed to be pretty good games, right? So don't get me wrong. I'm not mad at those games being on that Saturday, but what I'm mad at is why the slate on the Sunday is bigger than the slate on the Saturday. Bro, if you ask if you go to any city in the country and you ask them their favorite team, and they're going to say their basketball team from their city, and they're going to say their football team from their city. But if you ask them if those 2 teams are playing, let's say those 2 teams are equal in caliber. If those 2 teams, let's say the Warriors and the 49ers, not the Warriors are not a good example. They're way too popular. But that's just what I'm saying. You understand what I'm saying? Let's just say it is the Houston Texans and the Houston Rockets. Those are 2 teams that are both very good, very young teams right now, very exciting. The city of Houston has a whole lot to be excited about in both sports. If those 2 teams are playing a game at the exact same time against equally rated opponents where it's a good game for both teams, 99% of the fans in that city are going to say that they're going to watch the Texans game over the Rockets game. Because that's just how it is. People love the NFL. That's America's sport. You will never be able to beat the NFL, so why are we even trying to compete? I remember a few years ago, it might have been even last year, I remember LeBron James having a quote. He was like, bro, it was like on his podcast or something. It was like the barbershop, the shop. And I remember he said, why does the WNBA have a finals game on during the same time as opening night of the NFL season? They're never going to get ratings like that. And I thinking, of course they're not. That's absolutely idiotic. That's a great point, LeBron. That sounded like glazing, but genuinely, that is a great point. And now I'm looking at the NBA and I'm like, the NBA is doing the same fucking thing damn near. I mean, it's not the finals at least. It's just a random game 26, 27 of the season for some of these teams, you know what I'm saying? But it's still. If the NBA's goal is to get the casual fan more involved in the regular season, you have to make it absolutely opportune. You have to make it extremely easy. You have to make the NBA product easily accessible to these fans, and that's not something you're doing. And even when you are making it easily accessible to them, it's you're doing it at the same time as something they love more than basketball, football. The average American is watching a football game over a basketball game, even if they fucking don't like sports. So what are we doing, NBA? Why are we trying this right now? And then another thing that I have with the problem with the NBA is how inaccessible it is to watch a game. Bro, I was literally, just before I was recording this video, I was watching Mavs Warriors, which is a game that I'm going to talk about in a second, but I was watching Mavs Warriors, and then I was watching, trying to watch Lakers Grizzlies, right? Because I just got off 2K with the homies. I was lagging out. I was getting pissed off. I was like, all right, I'm just going to watch this game, finish this, record this video and everything. And then I go to NBA League Pass, and it says I can't watch it. Not because it's on a primetime game. It's not like it's on TNT or ESPN or anything like that. No, it wasn't anything like that. It was because the game is in my local market. So I'm a student, so I pay $10 a month for League Pass, and I can't get games in my local market. When I'm in Pennsylvania for school, I can't get local Phillies games. I mean, not Phillies. I can't get local Philly games. I cannot get 76ers games on League Pass. The only time I can watch a 76ers game is when it's a primetime game, and that is retarded. I'm paying $10 for it, and you're telling me that I still have to pay for cable to watch the local team's game instead of just watching it on League Pass? I can watch the fucking Sacramento Kings play the New Orleans Pelicans, who are down to their 17th G League player, on League Pass, even if they're 3,000 miles away from me, but I can't watch my local team play against a decent opponent on League Pass? I have to have cable for that too? And then for primetime games, I got to figure out if it's on ESPN. I got to figure out if it's on TNT, whatever site it's going to be on. If it's going to be on NBA TV, you got to figure out where this stuff is going to be. And it's bro, it just doesn't make sense. Not only is it expensive to watch these games, but it's also so inaccessible to the point where it's bro, the easiest way to access these NBA games most of the time is by using an illegal streaming site, or doing what most fans are going to do and just simply get lazy and just consume the content in another way, such as highlights. There is such what's the word I'm looking for? There is such a surplus of short content like that you can just consume within 30 seconds, and you can just get a fix for something. It's the same way with NBA. You can go and you can watch Queese on TikTok. You can watch him scream about the Lakers and scream about the Knicks. You can go watch me or Kenny Beecham or whoever you want to watch. You can go watch 100,000 different podcasts to keep up with the NBA. You can watch my channel, Kenny Beecham's channel. You can watch highlights. You can go watch Flight Reacts, because even watching Flight Reacts react to the highlights of a game is enough for some people. And what a lot of fans do is they'll do that. What they do is they consume their media through someone else, through some other way other than watching a full game, and then they try to talk about the game like they actually have been watching hoops, and you can tell that they haven't been watching hoops. Bro, the casual fan is not really watching hoops. One of my homies is a Bulls fan. He's a big Bulls fan, right? If I asked him how many Bulls games he'd watched this season, he could probably count it on one hand. Now, he's not one of those guys that I expect to tune in and watch 50 games out of the NBA season. He's not. He's literally a casual fan. You could even argue he might. I wouldn't even say he's a super casual fan because he do be on NBA Twitter and stuff, and I'm sure he watches some stuff on like YouTube and stuff, like some talking heads at least. So don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's a super casual fan, but he's a casual fan. He is the type of fan that the NBA needs to cater to more. I guarantee you, if I called him right now and I said, "Hey, homie, Trevon, how many times have you watched the NBA? How many times have you watched the Bulls game this season? For more than a few minutes, for more than some highlights." I'm talking about you got the TV, you got it on the TV, you put it on there, and I'm not talking about I'm talking about you were really watching it, like you did that yourself, not at a family function, because Thanksgiving don't count. And even if it does, he still could probably count it on one hand, because, well, first of all, the Bulls didn't play on Thanksgiving. But anyways, you understand what I'm saying. Like, it's the casual fan isn't even watching their favorite team like that, especially if their favorite team's not good, because they're not getting primetime games, and then they're not about to pay for cable to watch their favorite team. My favorite team is the Raptors, so luckily for me, it's like I get them on League Pass because they're not a local team, but it's like if they're playing the 76ers, I can't watch it. Because if they're in Philly playing the 76ers, I can't watch my favorite team play because they're in my local market, even though I'm paying for League Pass. And then you got the Charlotte Hornets and the Chicago Bulls combining for 75 missed threes in a game, which is ridiculous. And you've got fans complaining about, you've got people, and now you're trying to wonder, well, is the product of the game ruined? I wouldn't say the product of the game was ruined, but I would say when you've got two teams missing 75 threes in a game, and then when you've got the Warriors coming out here and banging 18 threes in the first half, which is a record, and still being down by like 8 to 10 points. The Mavs put up like 84 points in that quarter. The Warriors hit 18 threes and were down by like double digits. The Mavs and Warriors just made like 45 threes combined today. That was a record. I'm not saying three-point shooting is ruining the game or anything like that, but what I'm saying is for the NBA, for the casual NBA fan, you're looking at these defenders and you're saying most of these guys are just letting guys get to their spots. You're not seeing guys try to make people, you're not seeing as many guys try to make people uncomfortable. You're not seeing as many guys really take pride in that defensive end. So it's allowing a whole lot of fast breaks, and then it's also what happens in the half court is just straight threes, just chucking threes from every single team in the league, whether you're good or you're bad at it, you're going to shoot them. Unless you're like the Lakers or the Nuggets who just can't, like you can't adapt, at the moment at least. So you've got the product going down in that way, and then you've got the refs who are calling a tech every single time a player claps his hand, so he can't even get any real rivalries, because if these players even get close to sniffing each other, it's a fucking tech. And we can't really get any like player storylines, because what the NBA used to do was do a really good job at marketing players on smaller market teams. I wouldn't say the Raptors are a small market team now, but maybe in the beginning you could say they were. They did a good job of marketing T-Mac. They did a good job of marketing Chris Bosh. They did a good job of marketing Vince Carter. They did a good job of marketing some of these guys that were in these smaller cities. Ray Allen had a real fan base for a real reason when he was on the Milwaukee Bucks. Kevin Garnett in Minnesota was one of the most famous players in the NBA, was one of the biggest superstars in the NBA in Minnesota in 2004, and he was the only person on that team that was good at basketball. The NBA used to do a great job in not only promoting individual players, especially those on smaller teams and even those that just smaller market teams in general, more than they do now. Now it's literally just LeBron, Steph, KD, Anthony Edwards, Jason Tatum, Luka. You might not even see Luka that much. Like, that's all you're going to see. You're going to see plenty of Giannis. You're going to see the same 5 or 6 guys. But most of it's going to be LeBron, Steph, KD. And Jason Tatum gets a lot too. Water out of these, I stole this from my girlfriend. Water out of these is so much better than any other water. Basically what I'm saying is the NBA has problems, and it has a lot of them, but the ratings aren't necessarily something to worry about for right now. But what I will say is that it just seems to me as if the product of the game is declining, and maybe that is just nostalgia from my childhood years or even from my teenage years. It very well could be. I'm only 21 years old, so it's not like I'm a decade removed from my teenage years, but I meant like my early teenage years, like 2015, 2016 type of years. Maybe it's nostalgia, maybe it is, maybe the NBA had just as many problems back then, and I'm sure it did, but it's just like, and not even all of it is the NBA's fault. Some of it is just culture. Some of it is just fans, because you've got fans saying that they hate games like the one that we just watched with the Warriors and the Mavericks, but then when you've got a game where it's a team like the Rockets versus the Warriors or the Rockets versus the Thunder and the score ends up 91-89, no one talks about it. But then the next day when the Bulls and the Hornets missed 75 threes combined, that's all over the news. That's all over NBA Twitter. But nobody talked about that game. So we love to hate, but we never want to be satisfied. When we get the product we're asking for, we complain about it still, or we just ignore it completely to get ready to hate on whatever the next thing is. There's literally pages that I think are hilarious, by the way, but like still that are literally just about watching hoops to hate. Not all of it's on the NBA. Some of it's on us. But a lot of it's on the NBA. Basically, what I'm saying is the NBA's got problems, and I love y'all and I appreciate y'all. And the NBA is in for an absolutely terrifying day when Steph Curry, LeBron James, and Kevin Durant retire. The NBA is in for a terrifying day when that happens. They better pray that Jokic develops a personality, or Anthony Edwards takes a leap to become Jokic, or Giannis. Not much more Giannis can do, to be real. I don't even know. Yeah, I don't know. But I love y'all. Nice little rant session today. A nice little Sunday night, 11 p.m. rant session. At least I got you a video. Okay, I tried. I just drove 12 hours. I'm tired. I'm going to go to sleep. Get some more water and then go to sleep. But I love y'all, bro. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned. The video's about to be banging out. I'm trying to get these rebuilds done. I don't know why my technology's not working. I'm going to figure it out, though. I love y'all. Thank you.